really caught in the grips of the panic, I had a really bad case. It was real ugly.
Really?
You know, I was a panicker par excellence, and it really manifested itself in my relationships. And, you know, of course, when you're in it, you don't recognize it.
Right.
It's only those around you who could really bring it to your attention. And an ex-boyfriend actually did. And, you know, it wasn't until it was too late that I realized the error of my ways.
What did he say to you? Was he like, Dory, you're freaking me out?
Yeah, you know, I guess as, you know, a guy in his early 20s, you know, marriage wasn't totally, you know, the first thing on his agenda. And, you know, I guess any guy who's with a girl for a certain amount of time knows that marriage is on our mental map. So guys are just right off the bat, they're very wary of girls' agendas, even the nice ones.
That's absolutely true. And, you know, I'm sure that many of you have been in the position of either being the panicker or the one who's had to suffer someone's panic attack. And I want to hear your stories. And remember to raise your hands if you have a microphone and talk to us, Dory and I, because we love to hear from you. That's what's so great about Paltalk, is that it is just between us. And if you don't have a mic, that's okay, because I can read your IMs. So remember, there's a great way to communicate here, and I can't wait to talk to you about panicking. Now, it's
my favorite topic. You can't really get sick of talking about panicking.
Exactly.
It's a topic that keeps on giving.
Now, what are the signs of someone who's in panic?
You know, I always say that, you know, a woman. It's so hard for someone to admit that they have a panic, but it's even harder to recognize the symptoms. But of course, it's fairly evident to everyone else around the panicker that someone's, you know, in the throes of the panic years. But, you know, I think the panic manifests itself in such ugly ways, in such obvious ways, except to the panicker herself. But, you know, when you're at a wedding and you see that one single girl sobbing in the corner with dark sunglasses, you know, at a June wedding, and those ain't tears of joy. Those are tears of resentment and a little bitterness.
Really do that? Do people really ever get that upset? You think?
You know what?
That's a little psychotic.
I have married friends who have had to airbrush some wedding albums because of that one.
Really?
That one scowl, that one, you know, panicker who has that scowl on her face, who just ruins the whole album.
Oh my God, that sounds awful.
I know. You know, it's like, that's not even necessarily an extreme case, but, you know, I mean, that's something that obviously the panicker isn't even aware she's doing. But, you know, it's such reality. You know, when you see, like, I think the panic years, you know, is onset by so many factors, but one of them is, and one of the biggest ones, is seeing, you know, your inner circle start to get married, start to pair off.
Right.
And, you know, the younger cousin who's like 18, and this whirlwind romance after 4 months announced that she's engaged.
Right.
You know, that's got to hurt. But, you know, all these factors really contribute to mounting panic, and it really chips away at even, you know, the sanity of even the most sane girl.
Now, do you think that panic can also be, I mean, we're talking about women obviously being more, I guess it's, prone to panic, but do you think men ever go through panic?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have a subsection in the book that does not marginalize a marriage-minded guy. You know, he's a rare specimen, but I try to figure out, you know, how this guy is hardwired and what he's smoking, because so many guys get such a bad rap, you know, for being, you know, so altar allergic, for being so marriage phobic.
Oh, I like that, altar allergic.
It's in the book, but it's, you know, it's a real phenomenon. But I do, you know, I dub the male phenomenon manic panic. Panic for the marriage-minded guy. You know, obviously guys have a different time frame than their female counterparts, but, you know, I say the panic years, you know, affect men around 35, or when I say the last battle of Propecia is recalled, because then they just have to settle down because their looks are totally fading, and, you know, they better grab the first girl who's going to nibble.
That is interesting that you say that, because that actually was similar to friends of mine, that when they think of when they hit 30, they seem to think, I need to get married. You know, if they've had parents or sisters or siblings that have been married in their 20s, and they're the one sibling that's not married, I think men feel the pressure as well.
It's that arbitrary benchmark. You know what? I hate that people just assign so much pressure to a certain age, whatever. If
and do you think women have pressure at 25? I think I turned 25 and I noticed that you change your dating strategy. And I've always been relationship minded, but now it's, I don't want to waste my time in a 2 to 3 year relationship and then break up with the person.
I think it's such a fine line between being mindful of your own time frame and, you know, full-on panic. I think you really have to walk that tightrope, because I think it's very easy to bleed from one to the other. But yeah, no, for sure, you know, I think one of my favorite taglines is, you know, when you start dating for a fling and start dating for a ring, because it is that switch of the mindset, and it just turns everything upside down. It turns your whole life upside down. Though it shouldn't necessarily, but when your agenda starts to change, you know, all the behaviors and you know, your dating life changes along with it. So you do see a really marked change.
Well, for you guys out there right now, I want to go through kind of a checklist of what the signs are to being a panicker. And when we say panicker, are you feeling stressed to be in a serious relationship or to be engaged or married? And if you kind of meet this checklist, I mean, there's something called the DSM-4. It's the Diagnostic Statistical Manual that diagnoses what your psychosis is. And we're going to have a little fun today. We're going to do a checklist of, are you in your panic years? So if,
I love it.
Yeah, so Dory is our expert and the author of The Panic Year, so check that out. You can check it out on thepanicears.com now, and you can read all about Dory and see some excerpts from the book. Really cool stuff. But let's go see if some of our viewers right now are going through a panic.
Don't be shy. We're just here to help. We don't judge.
Exactly. No
Listen,
judging. No judging.
You know, I'm a reformed panicker, so I've been there myself. So I'm just here to, you know, share my pearls of wisdom and experience.
So what would be like I would say, what are the top 5 signs that you're panicking?
You know, the book, first of all, I have to say, is written in like a really lighthearted manner, very funny.
Kind of poking fun at the whole idea.
It is.
Losing your mind over marriage.
But you know what, obviously this is a very earnest and serious topic, but I make sure to address it with levity, because I think it's that lack of levity and lightheartedness in women's lives and relationships that are killing any chances of getting married, if that's actually what women want. You know, we don't let ourselves be in the moment